Hello. Um, Today our topic is string for methods that will give us some Boolean values. Now, Boolean is a data type in Python and in many other languages, in all of the languages actually, which has only two values. So, Boolean data type has only two values, true or false. Some of the languages are calling them, instead of true, one or zero, yes or no. Okay, so Boolean values are only when we're making a decision and when we're checking that if this thing exists or not. So the answer could be yes or no, true or false. So in Python, Boolean values are true or false. We're going to check some Boolean methods. As you know that all methods cannot be called individually, and we must call it from with reference to an object. So I have already created a variable, a string variable, and I've called it hello. Like you can write on anything. For example, I'm writing hello. Um, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so y is another variable in which I'm making it a string. I've told you these are the string methods, so I don't want a variable which is having a number value. The only difference could be that if I remove these quotations, it will become a y is a float now, because it's having a decimal value and it's not having a quotation mark. If I put a quotation mark around this 34.5, it will become a string. Okay, let's move forward. The first method that I'm going to check is alnum. Alnum is a short form of alphanumeric. Alpha means all the alphabets from A to Z, and numeric means all the numbers from 0 to 9. Okay, so I'm going to check if X is containing only alphabets and number values. It means that no special characters should be there. It means no space should be there. This method returns true if all the characters are alphanumeric and no space, no special characters are included. I'm going to write on space here also because we don't want a space in the. Let's run it and see what is the output. So if I run it, it's giving false. Why? Because it's having a space. Let's remove the space and run it one more time. So if I remove the space, you can see the value is true. So it means a space is going to make it false, otherwise it's true. Let's check y also. Y is of course a number only, but there is no space. So let's run it and see what is the value it's giving. Y is giving false because it's containing only numbers, but not at all, not any alphabet. Okay. The other function that we can use is alpha. Is alpha is to check if our program contains only alphabets. Now those alphabets can be uh, capital or small. For example, X, does it contain only alphabets? No. X is containing some alphabets but with some numbers, so it should give us a false. It should also give us a false for is_alnum because there is a space in between. Let's run the program and see if you just check the definition of is_alpha, or if you check the definition of is_alnum, you can see that both of them should give us false. Both of the methods at this point, depending upon the values of variable x, should give us false. Let's run it and check it. So you can see it's both false. Is_alpha will give us true only if all the characters in the string are alphabet. So if I remove 1, 2, 3 from it, then it will give me all true because now there is no space. It's having numbers, if it's having all the alphabets, if not numbers, and it's having all the alphabets here also. If I check the same method for y, so it's going to give me false because in is alphanumeric, it's a must that with numbers it must contain a string also. Same thing for y is alpha is going to give me false because y is having 34.5, which are all numbers. Let's run it and check it. False and false. We have another function that can help us to find out if the value inside of a variable is a numeric value or not. And the name of the function, method. The method that we can use to check if the string is having only number value is numeric. Let's check it out. So for example, let's check out if it's numeric. We'll call we're calling is numeric with x. Now x is not having any numeric value. So if you check all these three functions for my x, I can put a hashtag here so that we can just focus on our is numeric. Okay, so if I run is numeric, you can see x is not having any number value, so it should give me false. Let's run it. So you can see it's giving me false. If I, instead of x, I will check this function for y. Now, if I'm gonna check this function method with for y, let's check this method for y. Now y is having all the numbers, so if I run this method, it's still giving me false. What could be the reason? Let's make it 34 and check it out. True. So it's not taking a decimal, only for whole numbers it's giving me true. If I'm writing 34.5 here, it's not giving me true because that is float, not a number. Okay, that is the difference. You can see if all, it returns true if all the character in the string are I would say, I would like to say whole numbers instead of writing the whole numbers and not even float numbers, or numbers, whole numbers, not float, not digit, not decimals. There are some functions that is called is and what is it called? It's called is decimal, but and those functions are only used when we are using Unicode, so we can't use it right now. Let's check about is title. Is title is another useful function that we can easily use, and is title is a function that we usually use when we want to check if the string is a title or not. Now, what's a title? A title is something which is having let me define it. For example, when I write down my life in the days of COVID-19, let's say. Now, is it a title or not? A title is it will be called a title in Python if every first letter of the word is capital. So T should be capital, D should be capital, O should be capital. If I'm having one letter and all the other letters must be small. Let's check it out if this X is a title or not. So it's giving me true. Okay, my life in the days on COVID-19, and what I'm doing is I've made everything capital. Now, for example, if of on I have written small o, it will give me a value false because according to the definition of title, or according to the what we can standard of title in Python, it must have first letter capital. That's one of that interesting method, that string method that you can use. Let's move towards the next one. The next one is called is identifier. Is identifier. A string is considered a valid identifier if it contains only alphanumeric values or underscore. So only alphabets, numbers, or underscore. If it is containing, if the x is starting with, let's say, if x is starting with a number, if the variable is starting with a number, or variable is containing any space or any special character, it won't be considered as a valid identifier. Let's run it and see how or what will be the answer of this method. I'm checking y first, y as an identifier. So y is starting with a number, so it has given me the answer false. Let's check for x as an identifier, and if I check it, it's also giving me false because it's having some spaces. Let's remove everything because at that time I was trying to make it title, I'm writing my school just, and it's giving me false. Why it's false? Because there is a space here. As I've already told you, it should only contain underscore, alphabets, and number. So I'm putting two underscores, I'm putting numbers and alphabets, and when if I run it, you can see the value for identifier is true. Now, there will be special situations when we are using identifier, and I'll explain you further in coming tutorials. So this is another interesting method of string. Uh, we have already discussed is alnum. Alnum is to check if the values in a variable or a string variable are alphabets and numbers without any space. Is alpha alphabets only? Is title all the alphabet should start with first letter capital? Identifier, now we did it. Is numeric, we did it. The next three are very easy. That is lower, is upper, is space. As the name says, it's just like checking if it will return true if all the characters in the string are capital letters. Is upper, I'm talking about is upper right now. So let's check is upper. So for example, in X, you can see it's not having all the capitals, so it will of course return me false. Let's run it and check it. So I'm right now checking if X is upper and it's giving me false. Let's make it all capital. So I'm saying MNOPQR, just capital. And if I run it now, it's going to give me true because all the letters there are capital. Similarly, the next is also very easy. As the name says, for this method, x is lower. So we're going to check if the variable x is lower or not. Lower mean lowercase. So x is not having any lowercase letter right now. It's all capital. So of course it will give me false. However, if I convert this one and change the value here to x, y, z, all small, and then run it off, then it is going to give me a true. And last, capital done, upper done, and lower done. Next method that I'm going to tell you is very easy and but a little tricky because I'm not sure if you know about escape characters or not. Escape characters are special characters in Python which can't be printed. For example, you know that when we are defining a string, we are defining everything in we're defining everything in inverted commas. So it's very difficult to print in that situation something which is it's the same inverted commas. That is called escape character. So the key characters and the special characters that we are using in Python as a key are called escape characters. So that is called print x dot is printable. So maybe we should do this function in a later hour because we haven't done it. So at this case, because x is having x, y, z and all are printable, so it will of course return me true. However, if I'm having an escape character like \n, which I might not have explained it to you, but I'll explain you later on. So then it's giving me it can give me a false. Is printable? I think we should check it later on because we haven't done escape characters yet. Let's talk about is-space. Is-space is a special method which returns true if all the characters in the string are white spaces. So if I run it, all the characters is giving me false because of course x is having a value which is not a space. So what I can do is if I put all the spaces here and run it, then it's going to give me a true. If I have a one character here and all the other white spaces, even then it will give me false because according to the definition of this method, it will give me true only if all the characters in the string are white spaces. That's all about different useful string methods which are actually returning us Boolean values, that is true or false, as you can see. So have fun, practice and enjoy. Thank you very much.